Hi, my name is Jenet Levy, and I'm a real estate agent with Halstead Property in New York City. Today we're going to talk about co-ops, the most prevalent kind of apartment you could own in New York. When you own a co-op, what you actually own is shares in the corporation that owns the building. Those shares entitle you to what we call the proprietary lease, which allows you to occupy the unit. So, in a very technical sense, you don't actually own real estate, but for all intents and purposes, you do own the apartment. So, what are the steps in purchasing a co-op? Well, they're very similar to any other kind of home purchase. The difference comes at the end. So, after you have your signed contract and your mortgage commitment, the very last step is your co-op board package. Now, I know we've all heard really scary things about New York City co-op boards, but really it's going to be okay if you're working with a skilled and experienced agent like myself. We've gotten many people through co-op boards. But what you do need to know is that you'll need to fill out a rather lengthy application, and you're going to need to supply some backup documents, such as financial documents, as well as letters of recommendation, both personal and professional. Then, after that's assembled and your agent submits it to the managing agent for the building, the board will review it and you'll be invited for your co-op board interview. Now, I know, again, maybe that sounds like a firing squad. Oh my God, board interview, they're lined up talking to me. But really, I've gotten many people through. I've coached them through co-op board interviews. It's actually a pretty informal thing. It's usually in the apartment of one of the board members, and really it's okay, you'll get through with flying colors. But you do need to know a little bit about the process. So, what are the costs in owning a co-op? You pay a monthly fee called maintenance, and maintenance is actually made up of three components. The first part is your share of the underlying mortgage, which is the mortgage that the sponsor took out back when he originally bought the building and converted it to co-ops. The second part is your share of the real estate taxes, and the third part is your share of the upkeep of the building. Now, I've mentioned the board or board of directors, and the board does have certain powers. The board can decide, for example, what the sublet policy is, what the pet policy is, and what they want to see in terms of qualifications of a potential purchaser. So how do you know if a co-op purchase is the right kind of purchase for you? Well, there are a few things to consider. If you do foresee the need to sublet in the near future, maybe you're going to have a job relocation for a year or something like that, probably a co-op is not the best option for you. They do have varying sublet policies, but they're usually pretty strict, and they do generally want the apartment to be owner-occupied. Secondly, if you have many or unusual pets, maybe a co-op is not the right choice for you. And lastly, if you want to use the apartment as a pied-à-terre, which is a part-time apartment, many do not allow it. Some do, but again, your agent will know. Your agent will only take you to the right kinds of buildings that are appropriate for you and your circumstances. On the plus side, co-ops are generally less expensive than condos. Secondly, when you live in a co-op, you generally live in a rather stable population. Well, by stable, I mean not transient, not attesting to the mental health, but no, I'm just kidding. But you live in a stable population of people who really care about the building and care about its upkeep. They care about the financials and keeping the value high of the apartments. And lastly, and this is really my favorite reason, when you live in a co-op, there's a good chance you'll live in one of those beautiful pre-war buildings that New York is so famous for. So I hope this was helpful. My contact information is coming up. Anything you'd like to reach out about regarding co-ops, condos, townhouses, condops, whether it's buying, selling, investing, reach out to me, please. I'd love to hear from you soon. And subscribe to this YouTube channel.